I'm sitting in my small living room, staring at the phone that hasn't rung in 7 years. 7 years since my son last spoke to me. 7 years since he looked me in the eye and said, "I will never forgive you for this." All those years I forgave him. Every mistake, every lie, every time he broke my heart, I forgave him. I forgave him when he stole from me. I forgave him when he ended up in jail. I forgave him when he screamed that he hated me. 1,000 times, maybe more, I opened my arms and said, "I forgive you. Come home." But I made one mistake. Just one. And he couldn't forgive me even once. They say what goes around comes around. They say you reap what you sow. But I'm still trying to understand how a mother who forgave everything ended up alone because she needed forgiveness just one time. Let me tell you about my son. Let me tell you about the 1,000 times I forgave him. And let me tell you about the one time he couldn't forgive me back. I had Marcus when I was 22. His father left when Marcus was 2, said he wasn't cut out for family life, and I never heard from him again. It was just me and my baby boy in a 1-bedroom apartment with walls so thin I could hear the neighbors breathing. I worked at a laundromat during the day and cleaned offices at night. Marcus stayed with my brother, Tommy, during my night shifts. Tommy was only 5 years older than me, but he'd always been more like a father to me than our own dad ever was. When our parents died in a house fire when I was 17, Tommy took me in. He worked construction, made just enough to support us both until I could get on my feet. And when Marcus came along, Tommy didn't hesitate. He became the father figure my son needed, the man who showed up to every school event I couldn't attend because I was working. Marcus adored his Uncle Tommy. When he was little, he'd wait by the window for Tommy to come pick him up, his face pressed against the glass, counting down the minutes. Tommy would take him to the park, to baseball games, to the library. He'd help with homework, teach him how to throw a ball, how to fix things, all the things a father should do, but Marcus's father never did. I was grateful every single day for my brother. He never made me feel like a burden. Never complained about watching Marcus. He'd just ruffle my hair and say, "That's what family does, sis. We show up for each other." Money was always tight, but I had a plan. From the time Marcus was born, I started putting away money. Not much, just whatever I could spare. $20 here, $50 there, sometimes just 10. I kept it in a savings account I'd opened specifically for him. It was my secret, my gift to him for when he turned 21. I wanted to give him something his father never gave him, something solid to build his life on, a foundation. I dreamed about the day I'd hand him that money. I imagined his face, the surprise, the gratitude. I imagined him using it for a down payment on a house, or starting a business, or whatever dream he wanted to chase. Every time I dropped money into that account, I thought about his future, about giving him opportunities I never had. Marcus was a sweet kid when he was young, affectionate, funny, smart. But something shifted when he hit 13. Suddenly, I wasn't cool anymore. Tommy wasn't cool anymore. His new friends were cool. The kids who skipped school and smoked behind the gym were cool. The boys who talked back to teachers and got suspended were cool. At first, I thought it was normal teenage rebellion. Every kid goes through it, right? But it got worse. By 15, Marcus was staying out past curfew. By 16, he was coming home smelling like alcohol. I'd confront him, and he'd lie to my face. "I wasn't drinking, Mom. You're paranoid." But I knew, Mother knows. Tommy tried to talk to him, man to man. "Marcus, you're better than this. You're smart, you've got potential. Don't throw it away on stupid choices." Marcus would nod, say the right things, and then do whatever he wanted anyway. The first time he got arrested, he was 17. He and his friends got into a fight at a party. Someone called the cops. Marcus spent the night in jail. I had to take a day off work, losing money I couldn't afford to lose, to go pick him up. He was sullen, angry, blaming everyone but himself. "It wasn't my fault," he said in the car. "The other guy started it." "Marcus, it doesn't matter who started it. You have to walk away. You have to be smarter than this." "Whatever, Mom." I forgave him. I told him we'd move past it, that everyone makes mistakes. I believed he'd learn from it. He didn't. The arrests kept coming, drunk and disorderly, disturbing the peace. Each time, it was the same cycle. Get arrested, spend a night or two in jail, get released, promise to do better, and then do the same thing again. Each time, I'd bail him out if there was bail, or pick him up when they released him. Each time, I'd look at his face, older and harder than it should be at his age, and I'd forgive him. I love you, I'd say. We'll get through this. Tommy would shake his head. Sis, you're enabling him. He needs to face consequences. He's my son, I'd reply. What am I supposed to do? Give up on him? No, but you can stop rescuing him every time. Let him figure it out. But I couldn't. He was my baby. How do you stop showing up for your child? When Marcus turned 18, things got worse. He dropped out of high school 3 months before graduation, just quit. I begged him to finish, offered to help however I could, but he wouldn't listen. School's not for me, Mom. I'm not some genius. I'm not going to college. I need to make money now. Then get a job, I said. He did, for about 3 weeks. Then he quit because his boss was disrespectful. He got another job, quit that one too, and another. He couldn't hold anything down. Couldn't show up on time, couldn't follow rules, couldn't accept authority. Meanwhile, he was spending money he didn't have, going out with friends, buying things, living like he had a steady income. I'd come home from work to find my things missing. A watch my mother gave me, the TV from my bedroom, small electronics. He was selling them, I realized, though he denied it. I didn't take anything, Mom. You probably misplaced it. But I knew, a mother knows. The worst was when I found out about the drugs. Not just smoking marijuana, though there was that too. He was using harder stuff. Pills at first, then cocaine. I found evidence in his room, confronted him, and he exploded. Stay out of my business. You're always in my face, always judging me. Maybe if you'd been around more when I was a kid instead of working all the time, I wouldn't be like this. His words cut deep. The guilt I'd carried for years, the guilt of being a working single mother who couldn't be everywhere at once, rose up and nearly drowned me. I cried that night, wondering if he was right, wondering if I'd failed him. Tommy found me crying and held me while I sobbed. This isn't your fault, he said firmly. You did everything you could. You gave that boy everything. He's making his own choices now. But what if I'd been there more? What if I'd worked less, been home more? You would have been homeless, Tommy said bluntly. You would have lost the apartment, wouldn't have been able to feed him. You did what you had to do. Don't let him make you feel guilty for surviving. At 19, Marcus hit rock bottom. He got arrested for possession with intent to sell. This wasn't overnight jail. This was serious. He was facing real prison time. I was terrified. I called Tommy at 3 in the morning when the police called me. What do I do? I sobbed. Get him a lawyer, Tommy said. A real one, not a public defender. I can't afford that. I'll help, Tommy said without hesitation. We pooled our money, got Marcus a decent lawyer who managed to get the charges reduced. Marcus ended up with probation, community service, and mandatory rehab. He avoided prison by a miracle and some very good legal work. In rehab, something shifted. Marcus got clean. Really clean. He started taking it seriously, going to meetings, working the program. When he got out, he seemed different, calmer, more mature. He apologized to me, really apologized, for the first time in years. Mom, I'm sorry, for everything. For stealing from you, for lying, for all the pain I caused. I want to do better. I'm going to do better. I held him and cried. I forgive you, baby. I forgive you. He got his GED, got a job at a warehouse and actually kept it. He moved into his own place, a small studio apartment. He stayed clean. He checked in with his probation officer. For 2 years, Marcus was the son I'd always hoped he'd be. But I noticed something. He was still distant, still somewhat cold. He'd call me once a week, have a brief conversation, and that was it. No visits. No family dinners. When I'd suggest getting together, he'd always have an excuse. He was busy. He had plans. He'd get back to me. Tommy noticed too. He's better, but he's not right. He said one Sunday when we were having coffee together, it's like he blames you for something. He blames me for not being there enough when he was young. I said, he said so. That's garbage, and he knows it. You were there. You just had to work to keep a roof over his head. Maybe he needed me home more than he needed the roof. Tommy shook his head. Don't do that. Don't take responsibility for his choices. When Marcus turned 21, I was so excited. This was it. The moment I'd been planning for 19 years. I'd saved $52,000. $52,000. It had taken nearly 2 decades of sacrifice, but I'd done it. I'd given my son a real foundation to build on. I called him and asked him to come over. I told him I had something important to give him. He agreed, sounding cautiously curious. But 3 months before Marcus's 21st birthday, everything changed. Tommy called me on a Tuesday evening. I could hear something wrong in his voice immediately. Sis, I need to talk to you. Can you come over? I drove to his apartment, my heart pounding. When I got there, Tommy looked like he'd aged 10 years. His face was gray, his hands shaking. I went to the doctor today, he said without preamble. I've been having pain for months, really bad pain. I thought it was just getting older, working construction for 30 years, you know, but it kept getting worse. My stomach dropped. What did they say? Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. The room tilted. I grabbed the counter to steady myself. No, that can't be right. Get a second opinion. Those tests are wrong sometimes. I did. 2 other doctors. Same diagnosis. It's aggressive, sis. It's already spread. I couldn't breathe. Tommy, my brother, my best friend. The man who'd raised me, who'd helped me raise Marcus, who'd been there for every single hard moment of my life. What are the treatment options? I managed to ask. That's why I called you. Tommy sat down heavily. There are experimental treatments, clinical trials. Some of them are showing really promising results for cases like mine. But my insurance won't cover it. It's considered experimental, so they denied the claim. How much? He was quiet for a long moment. About $60,000 for the full course of treatment. And even then, it's not a guarantee, but it's a chance. Without it, they're saying I have maybe 6 months. With it, if it works, maybe 2 years, maybe more. $60,000. I had $52,000 saved. For Marcus, for his future. For his 21st birthday that was 3 months away. I looked at my brother, this man who'd sacrificed so much for me, who'd been a father to my son, who'd never asked me for anything. And I made a decision. I have the money, I said. Tommy's head snapped up. What? I have money saved. $52,000. It's not quite enough, but it's close. I can borrow the rest. Tommy, you're getting this treatment. No, he shook his head violently. Absolutely not. That's Marcus's money. You've been saving that for him for years. I can't take that. Yes, you can. No, I can't. That's his future. And you're our family, I said, my voice breaking. You've been our family when no one else was. You helped raise him, Tommy. You were more of a father to him than his actual father ever was. I'm not letting you die when I can help. What about Marcus? I'll explain. He'll understand. He loves you, Tommy. He'd want this. Tommy looked at me with tears in his eyes. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. So I did it. I withdrew the money. $52,000 that had taken 19 years to save. I borrowed $8,000 more from a credit card, maxing it out, and I paid for Tommy's treatment. The treatment was brutal. Tommy got sick, lost weight, lost his hair, but it was working. The tumors were shrinking. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. Every time I visited him, saw him fighting, saw him living instead of dying, I knew I'd made the right choice. But I had to tell Marcus. His 21st birthday was approaching, and I couldn't give him what I'd promised. I called him and asked him to come over. When he arrived, I made coffee and sat him down. Marcus, I have something to tell you. Is this the surprise? The thing you wanted to give me? Yes and no. I took a breath. For your entire life, I've been saving money for you. I wanted to give you something for your 21st birthday. A foundation. A real start. His eyes lit up. How much? I'd saved $52,000. $52,000. He looked stunned. Mom, that's amazing. That's a down payment on a house. I could actually buy a place. Marcus, let me finish. My hands were shaking. 3 months ago, Uncle Tommy got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The light in his eyes dimmed. What? Is he okay? He's in treatment. Experimental treatment that his insurance wouldn't cover. It cost $60,000. I watched understanding dawn on his face. Watched it shift from confusion to realization to disbelief. You spent my money, he said slowly. I used the money to save your uncle's life, to save my brother's life. Marcus, he was dying. Without the treatment, he had 6 months. I couldn't let him die when I had the ability to help. Marcus stood up. That was my money. It was money I saved to give to you. Yes, but Tommy needed it more urgently. Marcus, he's family. He's the man who raised you when your father left. He was at every baseball game, every school event, every birthday. He loves you like a son. You promised me that money. His voice was rising. My whole life, you talked about setting me up, giving me a foundation, and you just gave it away. I didn't give it away. I used it to save my brother's life, your uncle's life. Without asking me, without even telling me. Because you would have said no. I said, my voice breaking. And I couldn't let Tommy die because you wanted money for a house. The look on Marcus's face changed. It went cold, hard. You chose him over me. I didn't choose anyone over anyone. I made an impossible choice in an emergency. You had that money for 19 years. 19 years, and you gave it away 3 months before you were supposed to give it to me. Do you know how that feels? Do you know what message that sends? Marcus, please, try to understand. I understand perfectly. He grabbed his jacket. I understand that when it came down to it, I wasn't the priority. Uncle Tommy was. That's not fair. You're both my family. I love you both. He stopped at the door and turned back. His eyes were filled with something I'd never seen before. Pure resentment. You forgave me 1,000 times, right? Every time I screwed up, every time I disappointed you, every time I broke your heart, you forgave me. You told me that's what mothers do. They forgive. Marcus, but you made one mistake. One. And I'm telling you right now, I will never forgive you for this. Never. Please don't do this. Don't throw away our relationship over money. It's not about the money, he said coldly. It's about what that money represented. It represented you finally putting me first. And you couldn't even do that. He left. And I didn't hear from him again. I called, I texted, I left voicemails. Nothing. Weeks turned into months. I tried going to his apartment. He wouldn't open the door. I tried showing up at his work. Security escorted me out. Tommy tried talking to him too. He called Marcus, tried to explain, tried to tell him that he'd offered to refuse the treatment, that I'd insisted. Marcus wouldn't listen. He hung up on me, Tommy said, looking devastated. Said he didn't want to hear excuses. This is my fault, I said. No, it's not. You saved my life. Marcus is being selfish. He's hurt. I broke a promise. You made an impossible choice. He's old enough to understand that. But Marcus didn't want to understand. He wanted to be angry. He wanted to punish me. The worst part was the silence. The complete absence of my son from my life. I'd see parents with their adult children at the grocery store, laughing together, and I'd have to leave before I started crying. Mother's Day came and went without a word from him. My birthday, nothing. Tommy's treatment continued. It was working. The cancer went into remission. My brother was going to live. Every time I saw him getting stronger, I knew I'd made the right choice, but it hurt. God, It hurt to know I'd saved my brother's life and lost my son in the process. "He'll come around," Tommy would say. "He just needs time." But time passed. 1 year, 2 years, 3. I kept trying. I'd send cards on his birthday, on Christmas. No response. I'd try calling once a month. The calls went straight to voicemail. After a while, I realized he'd blocked my number. I tried to move on. Tried to build a life that didn't revolve around waiting for my son to forgive me. Tommy and I grew even closer. He'd come over for dinner twice a week. We'd watch movies, play cards, talk about everything except Marcus, but I thought about him every single day, wondered what he was doing. If he was happy, if he ever thought about me, if he ever regretted cutting me out of his life. I started having health problems. My heart, the doctor said. Stress and age. I needed medication, needed to slow down. I was 70 by then, still working part-time at the laundromat because my social security wasn't enough. Tommy tried to help financially, but I wouldn't let him. "You're cancer-free, but you need to save your money. You never know if it'll come back." "You're stubborn," he said. "I learned from the best," I replied, and we both smiled. On my 72nd birthday, I had a small heart attack. Tommy found me collapsed in my apartment and called 911. I spent a week in the hospital. When I got out, Tommy insisted I move in with him. "You can't live alone anymore, sis. What if something happens again?" I was too tired to argue. I moved into his spare room, the same room where Marcus used to sleep when Tommy would watch him as a baby. Tommy tried one more time to reach Marcus. He called from his phone, hoping Marcus would answer. He did. "Uncle Tommy." "Yeah, it's me." "Marcus, your mom had a heart attack. She's okay, but she's not doing great. I think you should come see her." Silence on the other end. "Marcus, I know you're angry. I know you feel betrayed. But she's getting older. She's sick. Don't let pride keep you from saying goodbye if something happens." "Is she dying?" "We're all dying, kid. The question is whether you want to make peace before it's too late." More silence. Then, "I can't. Uncle Tommy, I just can't." "Can't or won't, does it matter?" Tommy's voice got hard. "Yeah, it matters. Because can't means it's impossible. Won't means you're choosing not to. You're choosing to hold on to anger over a choice she made to save my life. You're choosing to punish her for being human. She broke her promise, and you broke her heart. So I guess you're even." Marcus hung up. Tommy looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I'm sorry, sis. You tried. That's all you can do." The years continued. 73. I was slower now, weaker. The heart medication helped but couldn't fix everything. Tommy took care of me, drove me to doctor's appointments, made sure I ate, kept me company. He was the family I had left. One evening, we were sitting on his porch, watching the sunset. Tommy turned to me and said, "Do you regret it? Using the money for my treatment?" "Never," I said immediately. "Not for a second. Even though it cost you, Marcus. Even though, Tommy, you're my brother. You were dying. How could I not help when I had the ability to?" "But Marcus made his choice. I made mine. I chose to save your life. He chose to hold on to anger. Both of us have to live with our choices." "I wish he could see what I see," Tommy said quietly. "What's that?" "A woman who loved her son so much that she forgave him everything. A woman who loved her brother so much that she saved his life. A woman who understands what love actually means, which is sacrifice. Marcus thinks love is what you get. You know love is what you give." I started crying. Tommy held my hand, and we watched the sun go down together. 3 months ago, I had another heart attack, a bad one. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. The doctors were concerned. My heart was weak. I needed to take it easy, they said, but we all knew what they really meant. I was running out of time. Tommy stayed with me every day. He'd bring me food from home, read to me, tell me jokes to make me laugh, even though laughing hurt. "Should we try calling Marcus?" I asked one day. "Do you want me to?" I thought about it. 7 years of silence. 7 years of being unforgiven. No, I said finally. I don't want him to come out of obligation or guilt. If he comes, I want it to be because he wants to. Because he's ready. He might not be ready until it's too late. Then that's his burden to carry, not mine. I went home after 2 weeks, but I was different. Weaker, more tired. I could feel my body shutting down, slowly but surely. Tommy knew it too. He didn't leave my side. One afternoon, I said to him, I need you to promise me something, anything. When I'm gone, I need you to try one more time with Marcus. Not right away. Give him time to process. But eventually, try to make him understand. Try to help him let go of the anger. Why? He doesn't deserve your concern. Because he's my son. And because anger is a prison. I don't want him locked up in it for the rest of his life. I want him to be free. To be happy. Even if that happiness doesn't include me. Tommy's eyes filled with tears. You're too good, sis. Too forgiving. No, I said. I'm just a mother. That's what we do. We love them even when they don't love us back. We forgive them even when they won't forgive us. We want the best for them even when they don't want us at all. 2 weeks ago, I went to sleep and didn't wake up. At least, that's what Tommy told me later. They told him. My heart gave out in the night. Peaceful, they said. No pain. But that's not entirely true. Because I'm still here, somehow, watching what happens next. And there was pain. The pain of dying without reconciliation. The pain of leaving the world knowing my son hated me. The pain of never getting to hear him say, I forgive you, Mom. Tommy found me in the morning. He held me and cried. Then he did what needed to be done. He called the funeral home, made arrangements. And he called Marcus. Marcus answered, Uncle Tommy, is everything okay? No, kid, it's not. Your mom passed away last night. Silence. Long, heavy silence. Marcus, when's the funeral? Saturday. 2 p.m. I'll send you the details. Okay. Will you come? Another pause. I don't know. Tommy's voice got hard again. She's your mother, Marcus. Whatever anger you're holding on to, whatever grudge, she's gone now. You don't get another chance. I know, do you? Because 7 years is a long time to hold on to anger. And now she's dead. You can't apologize. You can't make amends. You can't ask her questions or get closure. She's gone. And you wasted 7 years that you'll never get back. I didn't ask for your opinion, Uncle Tommy. Too bad. You're getting it anyway. Your mother forgave you for everything. Every terrible thing you did, every time you broke her heart, she forgave you. She used her life savings to save my life, and you punished her for it. For 7 years, you punished her for choosing to save her brother instead of giving you money. And now she's dead, and you have to live with that choice for the rest of your life. Marcus's voice was thick. Why are you telling me this? Because she asked me to help you let go of the anger. Her dying wish was for you to be free. Not for her sake. For yours. That's the kind of person she was. Even at the end, she was thinking about you. The line went quiet. Then, I'll come to the funeral. Good. And Marcus. After the funeral, come by my place. There's some things of your mom's you should see. Saturday came. The funeral was small. Just Tommy, a few people from the laundromat where I'd worked, a neighbor or two, and Marcus. He stood in the back, wearing a suit I'd never seen before. He looked older, more tired. His face was stone, giving nothing away. When it was time to view the body, Marcus approached slowly. He stood there for a long time, looking down at me. I wished I could see what he was thinking, what he was feeling, but his face remained blank. After the funeral, he drove to Tommy's place. Tommy was waiting with a box. What's this? Marcus asked. Your mom's things? Things she wanted you to have, I think. Marcus opened the box. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. All addressed to him, in my handwriting. All stamped but never mailed. She wrote you every week, Tommy said. For 7 years, she'd write these letters, telling you about her life, asking about yours, saying she loved you, but she never sent them. She said she didn't want to force herself on you. Marcus pulled out a letter at random and opened it. His hands were shaking. Dear Marcus, it's been 3 months since we last spoke. I want you to know that I understand you're angry. I understand you feel betrayed. What I did was save your uncle's life, but what you lost was a promise, a future you'd counted on. Both of those things are true at the same time. I don't expect you to forgive me today. Maybe not tomorrow either. Maybe never. But I want you to know that I forgive you for being angry. I forgive you for cutting me out of your life. I forgive you because that's what mothers do. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're happy. I hope you're building the life you wanted, even without the money I'd saved. You're smart and capable, and I know you'll find your way. I love you. I will always love you. Mom. Marcus read letter after letter, each one similar. Each one full of love and forgiveness and hope that he was doing well. No guilt trips, no demands, just love. At the bottom of the box was a journal. Tommy nodded toward it. Read that too. Marcus opened it. It was my handwriting, dated entries going back years. He flipped to an entry from 7 years ago, right after our fight. Today was the hardest day of my life. Marcus said he'll never forgive me. I understand why he's angry, but I'd make the same choice again. I can't let Tommy die. I won't, but losing Marcus over it feels like dying myself. I keep thinking about all the times I forgave him, not because I'm some saint, but because that's what love is. Love forgives. Love shows up. Love doesn't keep score. I wish he understood that the money wasn't just about him. It was about family, all of us. And when family is dying, you save them if you can. You don't calculate the cost. You don't weigh the options. You just act. But Marcus doesn't see it that way yet. Maybe he will someday. Maybe he won't. Either way, I'll keep loving him. I'll keep forgiving him. Even if he never forgives me. Marcus flipped through more pages. Months of entries. Years of entries. All of them expressing the same things. Love, forgiveness, hope for his happiness, and sadness at the distance between us. Then he got to an entry from 3 months ago, right after my heart attack. I'm dying. I know I am. The doctors don't say it outright, but I can feel it. My body is giving up. Tommy asked if I regret using the money for his treatment. I told him no. The truth is, I'd do it again. I'd do it 1,000 times. Tommy is alive because of that choice. He's cancer-free. He's healthy. Every time I see him, I know the money was worth it. But Marcus, my son, my baby, I'll die without his forgiveness. I'll die without seeing him again, without hearing his voice, without knowing if he's okay. That's the cost. That's what I traded. His presence in my life for Tommy's life. And I'd make the same choice again. But God, it hurts. I hope Marcus finds peace. I hope he lets go of the anger someday. Not for my sake. I'll be gone, but for his. Anger is heavy. It weighs you down. It steals your joy. I don't want that for him. I forgave him 1,000 times because I loved him. I hope he learns to forgive too. Not me, necessarily, but himself. For the time we lost, for the words we didn't say, for the stubborn pride that kept us apart. I love you, Marcus. I always have. I always will, even in death. Marcus closed the journal. His face crumbled. He started sobbing, huge body-racking sobs. Tommy put a hand on his shoulder. She never stopped loving you, Tommy said quietly. Not for a second. Even when you broke her heart, she loved you. I was so angry. Marcus choked out. I was so angry that she chose you over me. She didn't choose me over you. She chose to save a life. My life. And yeah, it cost you money. But Marcus, I'm alive because of her. I'm sitting here with you right now because of her. Is that really something to be angry about? I thought. Marcus couldn't finish. You thought what? I thought the money was proof that she valued me. That I mattered. And when she used it for something else, I thought it meant I didn't matter as much. You mattered more than anything, Tommy said. That's why she saved all those letters. That's why she wrote in that journal every week. That's why her dying wish was for you to be free of anger. You mattered so much that even dying without your forgiveness, She was still thinking about your happiness. Marcus pulled out another letter and read it. Then another. He spent hours reading every single one. 7 years of love and forgiveness and longing written in my handwriting. Finally, he looked up at Tommy. What do I do now? How do I live with this? You honor her, Tommy said. You take what she taught you and you use it. She taught you how to forgive, Marcus. She forgave you 1,000 times. Now you need to learn to do the same. But she's gone. I can't tell her I'm sorry. I can't ask her to forgive me. She already forgave you, Tommy said gently. Read the letters again. She forgave you the day you walked out. She never stopped forgiving you. The question isn't whether she forgives you. The question is whether you can forgive yourself. Marcus looked down at the letters spread across the table. 7 years of forgiveness, offered freely, never accepted. I wasted so much time, he whispered. Yes, you did, but you can't get that time back. All you can do is decide what you do with the time you have left. You can stay angry, or you can honor her by learning what she tried to teach you. What did she try to teach me? That love isn't about what you get, it's about what you give. That forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. That family shows up for each other, even when it costs them everything. Marcus stayed at Tommy's house until late that night, reading and rereading my letters, my journal entries. When he finally left, he took the box with him. Over the next few weeks, something changed in Marcus. Tommy told me later, as I watched from wherever I am now, that Marcus started doing things differently. He quit his warehouse job and enrolled in community college. He started studying to become a social worker, specializing in family counseling. He wanted to help other families navigate the impossible choices, the conflicts, the grudges that tear people apart. He started volunteering at the hospital where Tommy had received his cancer treatment. He'd visit patients who had no family, sit with them, talk to them, be present for them. He became the son for other people that he hadn't been for me, and he stayed close to Tommy. They had dinner together twice a week. Marcus would ask about me, about what I was like, about the things he'd missed in those 7 years. Tommy would tell him stories, share memories, and Marcus would listen with tears in his eyes. Tell me about the time she worked 3 jobs, Marcus said one evening. Tommy smiled. She was so tired she'd fall asleep standing up, but she never complained. Every penny went into that account for you. She'd come home exhausted, barely able to stand, and she'd still check your homework, still ask about your day, still make sure you felt loved. I told her she wasn't there enough, Marcus said quietly. I blamed her for working so much, but she was working for me. She was working to survive, Tommy corrected, and to give you opportunities. Don't romanticize it, but don't diminish it either. She did what she had to do, and she did it with love. 6 months after my death, Marcus started something new. He created a foundation in my name, the Margaret Chen Family Crisis Fund. The foundation helped families facing impossible medical choices, providing financial assistance when insurance wouldn't cover life-saving treatments. He used his inheritance from me, the small amount I'd managed to save again before I died, as seed money. He fundraised, applied for grants, got donations. Within a year, the foundation had helped 12 families. Within 2 years, 43. Every family that received help got a letter from Marcus, explaining why the foundation existed. He'd tell them about me, about the choice I made, about the cost and the value of that choice. He'd tell them that someone understood their impossible situation, and they weren't alone. Tommy was so proud. Your mom would love this, he told Marcus. I hope so, Marcus said. I'm trying to make up for the time I wasted. You can't make up for it, but you can make it mean something. You can take the lesson and use it to help others. That's what she'd want. Marcus also started writing. He wrote about his experience, about the 7 years of anger, about the regret and the lessons learned too late. He started a blog that grew into a book, The 1,000 Pardons, Learning to Forgive When You've Been Forgiven. The book was part memoir, part self-help. In it, Marcus was brutally honest about his mistakes, his selfishness, his inability to see past his own hurt, to understand the impossible position I'd been in. He wrote about the letters, the journal, the realization that came too late. The book resonated with people. Thousands of people. People who'd cut off family members over grudges. People who were holding on to anger that was poisoning their lives. People who needed to learn what Marcus had learned, that forgiveness is freedom. He started speaking at events, at churches, at community centers. He'd tell our story, my story, and people would cry. They'd come up to him afterward and tell him about their own estranged parents, their own regrets, their own impossible choices. And Marcus would tell them what Tommy told him: you can't change the past, but you can change what you do right now. You can pick up the phone, you can send the letter, you can show up. Don't wait until it's too late like I did. 3 years after my death, Tommy's cancer came back. The doctors were surprised it had stayed away as long as it did. Pancreatic cancer usually returns, they said. But he'd had 7 good years. 7 years of remission, of health, of life. 7 years that he wouldn't have had if not for that $52,000. Marcus was with him through all of it. Every doctor's appointment, every treatment, every hard day. He took time off work, moved in with Tommy, became his caretaker. You don't have to do this, Tommy said one day when Marcus was helping him to the bathroom, his body weak from chemo. Yes, I do, Marcus said. You were there for me my whole life. You were there for my mom. Let me be here for you. Your mom would be so proud of who you've become. I wish she could see it. Maybe she can, Tommy said. I like to think she's watching, that she sees the foundation, the book, the lives you're changing, that she knows her sacrifice mattered. It cost her everything. No, Tommy said firmly. It cost her you for 7 years. But look at you now. Look at what you're doing. Look at the lives you're saving, the families you're helping. Her sacrifice created all of this. It rippled out. That money didn't just save my life. It changed yours. It's changing other people's lives. That's not costing everything. That's multiplying everything, Marcus cried. Tommy held his hand. I forgave you, you know, Tommy said quietly. For those 7 years, for the way you treated her. I forgave you a long time ago. Why? Because that's what she would have wanted, and because I understand. You were hurt. You felt betrayed. You're human. We all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. Tommy died 6 months later, peacefully, with Marcus holding his hand. At the funeral, Marcus spoke. My Uncle Tommy was the best man I've ever known. He was a father to me when my own father left. He was a friend to my mother when she had no one else. He was family in the truest sense of the word. He showed up. Always. Marcus paused, his voice breaking. 7 years ago, my mother made a choice. She used money she'd saved for me to pay for Uncle Tommy's cancer treatment. I was angry. I felt betrayed. I cut her out of my life completely. I refused to forgive her for choosing to save his life. He looked out at the small crowd. I was wrong. I was selfish and cruel and short-sighted. My mother taught me about forgiveness my entire life. She forgave me for things I didn't deserve forgiveness for. She forgave me 1,000 times. And when she needed forgiveness once, just once, I refused. Tears streamed down his face. She died 3 years ago without my forgiveness. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. But Uncle Tommy gave me 7 years with him because of her choice. 7 years to learn. 7 years to grow. 7 years to understand what love and sacrifice actually mean. He wiped his eyes. So today, I don't just mourn my uncle, I honor my mother. The woman who understood that some choices aren't about choosing one person over another. They're about choosing life, choosing love, choosing to act when someone you love is dying and you have the power to help. After the funeral, Marcus started something new. He expanded the foundation to include end-of-life care support. He partnered with hospices and hospitals to provide companionship for dying patients who had no family. Volunteers who would sit with them, hold their hands, make sure no one died alone the way I almost did. He trained the volunteers himself. He'd tell them about me, about the letters I wrote that were never sent, about the forgiveness I offered that was never accepted. He'd tell them that their presence mattered, that showing up was everything. The foundation grew. 5 years after my death, it had helped over 200 families with medical costs and provided end-of-life companionship for over 500 people. Marcus had found his purpose in the pain. He never married, never had children. He told someone in an interview once that he was too afraid of repeating the patterns, of failing someone the way he'd failed me. But he had family. The families he helped became his family. The volunteers became his family. The people whose lives he touched became his family. And every year, on my birthday, he'd visit my grave. He'd bring flowers and sit there for hours, reading my letters out loud. All the letters I'd written but never sent. He'd read them to me, his voice breaking, tears falling. 7 years of love finally received even though I was gone. "I'm sorry, Mom," he'd say every time. "I'm so sorry I wasted our time. I'm sorry I couldn't see what you were teaching me. I'm sorry I let pride and anger keep me from you." And then he'd tell me about the foundation, about the families helped, about the lives saved. He'd tell me that her sacrifice, my sacrifice, had meaning, that it rippled out farther than either of us could have imagined. "I hope you're proud of me," he'd say. "I hope wherever you are, you can see that I finally learned. I finally understand. Love forgives. Love shows up. Love doesn't keep score." He'd stay until sunset, talking to me like I could hear him. Maybe I could. Maybe I can. Maybe that's why I'm still here, watching, seeing how the story ended. My son learned to forgive, not in time to forgive me while I was alive, but in time to forgive himself, in time to take the lesson and use it to help others, in time to understand that the choice I made wasn't about loving him less. It was about loving more, bigger, without limits. I forgave my son 1,000 times. He couldn't forgive me once when I needed it, but he learned. He learned to forgive others. He learned to forgive himself. He learned that forgiveness is the only way to be free, and in learning that, he honored me more than if he'd forgiven me while I was alive. He took the pain and turned it into purpose. He took the regret and turned it into redemption. Not for me, I was gone, but for himself, and for the hundreds of people whose lives he touched. That's what I wanted all along, for him to be happy, to be free, to understand love. It took my death for him to learn it, but he learned it. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.
Margaret's story ended without the reconciliation she longed for. But it didn't end without meaning. Her choice to save her brother's life cost her the relationship with her son, but it saved Tommy. And Tommy's extra years allowed Marcus the time to learn, to grow, to transform his pain into purpose. Sometimes forgiveness comes too late for the person who needed it, but it's never too late for the person who needs to give it. Marcus learned what his mother tried to teach him, that love forgives, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. If you're holding on to anger at a parent who made an impossible choice, ask yourself, are you punishing them for being human, for making a decision in a crisis, for choosing to save a life? And if you're the parent who's been cut off, who lives with the pain of unforgiveness, know this: you did what you thought was right. You can't control whether they forgive you, but you can forgive yourself. You can know that your love had value, even if it wasn't recognized, even if it wasn't returned. Margaret forgave her son 1,000 times because that's what love does. And in the end, Marcus learned to forgive too. Not in time to give his mother peace, but in time to find his own. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's about freeing the future. It's about releasing the weight so you can move forward. It's about understanding that we're all human. We all make mistakes, and we all deserve grace, even when it comes too late, especially then. If this story moved you, please subscribe to this channel. I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this from? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how far this story has reached. Hit the like button if you believe in the power of forgiveness, even when it's hard, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Thank you for being here. And remember, it's never too late to forgive. Not others, not yourself. Forgiveness is freedom, and you deserve to be free. Until next time.